Now just moments away from first pitch here inside Rogers Center. An absolutely gorgeous afternoon for baseball here in Toronto. Middle game of this 3-game series after the Mariners won last night by a final score of 4-3. The roof is open. It is a gorgeous day north of the border. Welcome inside Rogers Center. Aaron Goldsmith alongside Mike Flowers, our entire Root Sports crew, as the Mariners get to face veteran Mark Buehrle, now in his 16th season. It's his third with the Blue Jays. And as we've mentioned, we know one thing for Buehrle for sure: he will work fast. 1 ball and 1 strike to Ricky Weeks, leading things off today for the Mariners, with Willie Bloomquist batting second. And Buehrle ahead 1-2.
This afternoon you are going to see a lot of 81, 82, 83 mile per hour pitches from Buehrle. That is his fastball. That's where his fastball is at these days. It used to be in the upper 80s, 90 miles an hour, but now in the low 80s. And he'll also mix in a changeup. His cutter will be around 79 miles an hour, an occasional curveball, but we'll see more changeups as far as off-speed pitches from Buehrle.
The 1-2 to Weeks. Now, right now, Nathan Eovaldi of the Yankees and Yordano Ventura of the Royals have the highest fastball velocity in the game at about 96 miles an hour. Buehrle, that time at 78, and he gets Weeks swinging.
Take a look at the rest of the lineup, brought to you by Chevron. Following Weeks, it will be Willie Bloomquist, .455 batting average against Buehrle in his career. Cano, Cruz, and Seager in the middle of the lineup. Then it's Ruggiano. Morrison with a big base hit last night, driving in a couple of runs. Mike Zunino with a double and an RBI in last night's ballgame. And Chris Taylor will round out the 9 for the Mariners. I was not surprised to see that Willie had a lot of success against Buehrle as you look at his numbers.
Out of the gap in left center. Pilar calling off Valencia. Out number 2.
I think against Buehrle, you really have to hit the ball the other way, think more towards the middle of the field, and that's something that Willie has done throughout his career. Take a look at the rest of the defense, brought to you by American Family Insurance. Valencia is in left field. Colabello out in right. Donaldson did not start last night. He is at third in this afternoon's game. Goins and Tollison playing up the middle. Encarnacion, the first baseman, and Russell Martin will do the catching for the Blue Jays this afternoon.
2 quick outs. It brings in Cano, as it looks like Russell Martin helping out Jerry Davis with some type of equipment issue behind home plate, or maybe vice versa. Davis has been in the big leagues a long time. This is his 32nd year as a major league umpire. He has umpired 5 World Series. He was the crew chief in '09 between Cano's Yankees and J. Happ's Phillies, and that World Series that the Yankees won. And Cano behind 0-2. He's had good success against Buehrle in his career, batting above 300. Of course, Buehrle a long time in the American League, coming up with the White Sox, a brief time in the National League with the Marlins, and then part of that huge trade to Toronto. Tight to the line, Encarnacion. Out number 3. 3 up, 3 down for Mark Buehrle. Blink your eyes. We go to the bottom of the first. James Paxton looking to extend that 20-inning scoreless streak. He'll take them out next. James Paxton, 26 years old, the lefty out of Lander, British Columbia, today making his 26th career start, his second here in his native country, and he faces a Blue Jays lineup, Mike, that looks a little bit like this.
And Josh Donaldson going to lead things up. Off to a good start for the Blue Jays. The former A, 304 batting average for him. Then it's Bautista Encarnacion. You see what he's done in May. 278 with 7 home runs and 19 RBIs. He's been the hot hitter, homered in last night's ball game. Then it's Martin Valencia, Colabello with a home run, a 2-run homer in the 9th inning. He will hit 6. Pilar, Tollison, and Goins to round out the 9 for the Blue Jays. And for Paxton on the year, 3.59 ERA, 37 strikeouts and 47 2/3. Opponents hitting .227 against him. Looking for his 3rd win on the season.
Facing a familiar opponent, Josh Donaldson, who had last night off for the most part, pinch hit late in the game. So Donaldson has played officially in every game so far this year for the Blue Jays. Was nursing just a minor calf injury, nothing serious.
And he has played well. 304 average, 9 home runs, 28 RBIs for the 3rd baseman.
Paxton's 1-1. Barreled up. Ruggiano will have to chase this all the way to the wall. Donaldson extra bases as he's in at second. So Paxton having to work around a leadoff double by Josh Donaldson.
He's going to get a fastball. It's down, but in the middle of the plate. 92 miles an hour. And Ruggiano not able to cut it off before it gets into the gap. For Paxton, he's been over 80% fastballs in his last couple of outings, and I think it's been a real strength for him, and we've seen his velocity go up because of that. But one of the things to consider is this Blue Jays team, they're hitting .316 against left-handed pitching this year. It's the highest batting average for any team in the American League. So I think that Paxton, although he wants to establish his fastball, and I agree with that, we may see more curveballs and changeups from him.
Bautista ahead of the count, 2-0. Well, when he went the career-high 8 scoreless against the Red Sox, he said after the game, if they're not adjusting to my fastball, I'm not going to change.
I think that's the way that you have to do it.
Hammered high to the pole. It's hooking foul. Talk about distance, but a foul ball. Yikes.
And another fastball. That one in the middle of the plate again.
Well, you don't expect it that high up. A loud strike off the bat of Bautista, who's ahead 3-1. Bautista, an all-star the last 5 years. Encarnacion, the man right there, an all-star each of the last 2. This is a heavy-hitting lineup for the Blue Jays, leading baseball in runs scored. And it's out of the glove of Zunino, and along with the walk, Donaldson takes 3rd.
Let's take a look at the Mariners' defensive setup. Ricky Weeks in left field, Ruggiano in center, Willie Bloomquist getting a start in right field, Kyle Seager at 3rd, Taylor and Cano. They will play up the middle. Logan Morrison, what a job he has done at first base this year, and then Mike Zunino will do the catching.
You can see Bloomquist in right field today. Ball 1 to Encarnacion.
It's fun today getting here at the ballpark, and Willie was in right field taking some fly balls and getting a look at this AstroTurf as Zunino take a trip out to the mound. But Andy Van Slyke and Chris Woodward, they had the ball teed up. Boyd McClendon going to have a conversation with James. And they were hitting everything to him, fly balls and hitting a lot of balls on the ground. We talked a lot about the turf in yesterday's game. It's a different type of turf. But I thought it was interesting for them to hit the ball off the tee. Normally you just throw the ball in the air and hit it, but they were taking some pretty good hacks off the tee.
Part of that, the hook, the slice, a left-handed hitter, a right-handed hitter.
Yes.
Van Slyke swings from the left side, Woody from the right side. So
that's exactly right. Giving Willie a look from both sides and the way the ball is going to react. And probably more importantly, the way it's going to react once it hits the turf. So they had a lot of work out in right field this morning.
Now we know Lloyd, when he has a message to give to a pitcher, sometimes he will deliver it personally, and he does that right here to Paxton. And we all know what happened to Paxton last year in this ballpark. September 22nd, a career high 9 runs, 7 hits, 6 walks. That's what really stood out. Encarnacion ahead. We've seen a walk and a wild pitch that gave Donaldson third base. Also a double. Two and one.
And that was the best fastball we've seen from Paxton so far, 94 miles an hour. Right on the inside corner.
Ruggiano has it in his range. Donaldson ready to tag up at third base. He does. Donaldson comes in to score, and the Blue Jays take an early 1-0 lead. And the 20-inning scoreless streak comes to a close for Paxton. Now the Mariners have had their difficulties early in games. You can take a look in the American League. Only 2 teams have allowed more runs in the first 3 outs of the game, the White Sox and the Indians. Ball 1 to Russell Martin. And for Mariners pitching, we saw the Blue Jays grab a run last night in the first inning on the home run by Encarnacion, the grand slam by Steve Pearce in the finale in the first inning in Baltimore. So 3 straight games that the opponent has scored in the first, as Paxton falls behind 2-0. Paxton had a chance to talk a little bit yesterday about his start last year here and how big of a deal it was to him personally. Of course, we've heard Lloyd talk about it last year after it happened, and James said that the mistake he made last season was just spending too much time thinking about everything outside the lines. Pitching back in his home country for the first time since high school, pitched collegiately at Kentucky. And there was a lot of emotions for James last year pitching back here in Canada.
Yeah, it meant a lot to him, and you can certainly understand the reason why.
Two and two.
95 miles an hour with that fastball. I would consider this a hitter-friendly ballpark, Aaron. I think a lot of the hitters enjoy swinging the bat here. The ball carries pretty well, and of course the AstroTurf certainly can help you. I had a conversation with Rick Wace when we were in Baltimore. Camden Yards, of course, a hitter-friendly ballpark, and I asked him, when you go through your scouting reports.
There's a nice pitch there from Paxton, a fastball. That might be the highest velocity we've seen so far today, 96. He catches Martin looking.
It definitely is, and all those fastballs on the inside corner. We'll take another look at it. Perfect pitch right there from Paxton. But Rick Waits, I asked him, I said, when you're talking to your pitchers and you're in a hitter-friendly ballpark, do you talk to them about changing things up a little bit? And he said, I do. And he said that the thing that I want them to do is pitch inside more. And he said that a lot of times, especially young pitchers, look at you like, well, don't you want me to pitch away? So they have to hit the ball the other way. And he said that the problem with that is if you pitch away all the time, they're going to start leaning out over the plate, and that's when they're really going to get extended on you. And he likes for them to pitch inside, and we're seeing that from James so far. A lot of fastballs inside. That one, pretty good fastball in the inside corner, but it was elevated.
And Bautista makes the turn. He's in at third base. Single for Valencia.
So don't be surprised if he's going to pitch inside to the Blue Jays today. And the good news for James, he's confident with pitching inside. Inside out swing. Valencia hits it hard right back up the middle. So far, a lot of fastballs from Paxton here in the first.
Last 2 starts, we've seen Paxton throw only 37 breaking balls, just over 175 fastballs. Colabello looks at a strike. Most of the time when we're here, Mike, it seems like the roof is closed. But when it does open up, have you ever been able to tell much of a difference in terms of the hitting environment?
I think that the ball carries pretty good when the roof is open. That's what I always felt.
You see the breeze blowing through here. You can see it on some of the uniforms.
But typically, if the roof is open, then you have a sunny day and it's going to be warmer. Although temperatures aren't going to get very high today, in the summertime, you can certainly see why the ball would stay in the air a little bit longer.
This ballpark completely transforms once you open the roof up. Runners on the corners, 2 outs, and 2 strikes against Chris Colabello, who had the big 9th inning home run last night against Rodney. Takes it right back to Zunino's glove. Another fastball from Paxton. So James picks up a couple of strikeouts. But Edwin Encarnacion, the sacrifice fly to center. And through 1 inning, the Blue Jays have the lead. Sports is brought to you by your local Ford stores. By the Emerald Queen Casino, welcoming Tower of Power June 6th. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. By Alaska Airlines, enjoy free entertainment on your personal device. Learn more at alaskaair.com. And by Safeco Insurance, find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. Beautiful shot there of Lake Ontario and Toronto Island as well. Gorgeous day. First pitch to Nelson Cruz, coming home from Mark Burley, missing for ball 1.
I thought one of the interesting things that I saw this morning as you look at the Mariners lineup today.
Broken bat skipper handled by Encarnacion. Long underhand, and Cruz is safe.
I think Burley tried to say that he tagged him before he ended up getting to the base. We were talking about this last night after the ball game, Aaron, and how hard Cruz ran to the first base on a couple of ground balls on the infield. And for a big man, he can really get down the line. Take a look at it. Encarnacion has a little bit of an issue. Let's see if he tags him. He clearly beats him to the base. It's just a matter of whether he tagged him before his foot hit the bag. It looked as if he did touch him on the arm.
Well, John Gimmons will challenge this.
It's hard to tell even from that look.
You can see the international sign there for it. You should probably challenge this. Encarnacion pretty certain about it.
One of the things that Logan Morrison has done a nice job of this year. Immediately, if he feels that he has a play like he did last night on the tag of Pilar at first, he will ask them to take a look at it. There's another look. Hard to tell when he touches him. He definitely tags him. It's just a matter of whether it was before his foot was on the bag. Here's another look.
And you can see him right there by the arm.
Yeah. And they're going to call him out.
So Cruz out. That ruling overturned. 1 out for the Mariners. It brings in Kyle Seager.
I was looking at the lineup today, and we talked about Willie, a 455 average. We'll give you another look at it. 455 average, and these are guys that have a number of at-bats. Willie with 44 at-bats, the most on anybody on the team. Then Cano at 310. I was surprised to see Nelson Cruz right now after being called out right there. 1 for 20 in his career against Burley.
Pretty surprising.
It is surprising. I would have thought he would have had pretty good numbers against him, but that has not been the case now. 1 for 20.
First pitch strike to Seager in the midst of an 8-game hitting streak. And he has hit awfully well in his career right here at this ballpark, batting close to 350 inside Rogers Center. Seager last night reaching twice, a walk and a single, also a run scored. You can see his numbers here in Toronto. Hammers this one to the corner in right field. Colabello can only watch it fly to the second deck. We are all tied up. Mariners and the Blue Jays tied at 1. Home run number 6 on the season for the Mariners third baseman.
And for Kyle, he gets a fastball, 83 miles an hour, and this is a pretty good pitch. It's right on the inside corner, but Kyle puts a better swing on it. So many times when a ball is located in that area, you're going to pull it foul, but Kyle able to stay inside of it and drive it up into the second deck.
Ruggiano on the first pitch, gobbled up by Donaldson. 2 outs.
Take a look at our Alaska Supermo and the swing by Kyle Seager. See him really pull his hands inside, leading with the knob of the bat. Good swing.
Ties this game up. Mariners entering today second in the American League, trailing only the Astros in home runs. Ball went to Logan Morrison. Now, big hit for Lomo last night, the 2-run triple that gave the Mariners the lead in the 4th.
And you can see what the league has hit against his fastball. 345 batting average. Major league average is just 272.
Lomo, liner to center field. Pilar near the shadows. We're on number 3. So Lomo out to center, but the Mariners tie this one up. Kyle Seager, his 6th home run of the season. James Paxton coming back out for the second. Home run, so Kyle Seager now a 9-game hitting streak, and he ties this game up at 1 apiece. Well, the train car giveaway series has been one of the most popular traditions since Safeco Field opened. And on Saturday, June 6th, the first 20,000 fans received this year's edition, the AT Express, saluting outfielder Dustin Ackley. For tickets to Train Car Night, just go to Mariners.com. Kevin Pillar leads things off in the bottom of the second. Strike one. And Mike, for Paxton in that first inning, once again, a lot of fastballs.
22 pitches, only 3 off-speed pitches for James, so he wants to establish his fastball, and we talked about him doing that over his last few starts. It certainly has worked well for him. And again, I think you're going to see a lot of fastballs, and you're going to see him inside on the right-hander's hands.
Paxton looking for his 5th consecutive quality start. 1-2. It's been pretty incredible to see how he has been able to shave down that earned run average. His last 5 starts, he's taken nearly 5 runs off his ERA. Delayed swing and a foul ball.
Aaron, I was curious in last night's ball game, and we've shown the play by Logan Morrison a number of times on Pillar. When Pillar bunted the ball, you take a look at this swing out in front of an off-speed pitch right there. But Pillar went wide at first to avoid the tag and dove towards first base. And part of the conversation that the umpires had when they met in the middle was they asked themselves, was he in the baseline, outside the baseline? And I've seen that play a number of times. And I haven't seen base runners making that play get called out for being out of the baseline. So I was curious, where is the line? What's the rule on that? Jerry Davis, home plate umpire, was saying it's 3 feet. If you're going to, and when you get in the area to avoid the tag, you can go wide 3 feet. And they felt that Pillar last night was right at that edge right there. So
that 3 feet on either side.
Yeah, and that's around the entire diamond. So it's not just home to first. It's anywhere in the diamond. They'll give you 3 feet on either side to avoid a tag. Which I think is a pretty tough call for an umpire because things happen so fast. You know, and so
that's more like 2.5 feet.
Right, all right. And so, depending on the umpire, probably to give you an idea of how much room you're going to have. And I think the guys probably get away with a little more than that more times than not. Fortunately, Logan was able to put the tag on him.
Really ties him up. Boy, when Paxton throws that curve, it comes with such velocity. That is one of the nastiest curveballs in the game.
Take a look at James Paxton, straight over the top, 12-6 curveball. He's trying to bury that pitch, and he gets Pillar to swing over the top of it. I think the other thing, too, is if you think about it, if he's throwing a lot of fastballs and he's pitching you inside, and all of a sudden you feel that you have to get started a little bit earlier to catch up to James's fastball because he has such a good one, then that breaking ball is going to be tough to lay off of. There's a good fastball in the inside corner.
It's interesting when you look at the evolution of James Paxton. We know that there was a point in his career when he was in college where he was really closer to almost a low 3/4 delivery. And then as he got into pro ball and started going through the minor leagues, that arm slot continued to get a little higher and a little higher. And then finally starting to mimic the mechanics a little bit of another pretty good lefty, Clayton Kershaw. And as he has come over the top, that curveball, which was more a little bit like a slurve, a little slurvy.
Sweeping curveball, yeah.
Now it's just a nasty hammer. Seager, the backhand stab. 2 outs. We'll take a look now at our Delta Airlines Keep Climbing standings. Mariners right in the middle of the pack there, and the Angels now 2 games over 500. A's have lost 4 in a row. The Rangers have won 3 straight. Astros still on top, but they've dropped their last 2. Two outs for Goins, the shortstop. When you take a look at the standings around the game, the Blue Jays are the only last place team in baseball with a positive run differential. They are plus 15. Scoring a lot of runs, but giving up plenty of runs themselves. You look at the most extreme end The Royals, one of the very best teams, probably the best team in the American League. They're at a plus 69. It's John Gibbons trying to get his rotation in order a little bit. 2-2. Blue Jays grabbed a run in the first. Encarnacion's sacrifice fly bringing in Donaldson.
And we're starting to see the velocity go up. You see that last fastball at the top of the strike zone, 95 miles an hour.
Just stays alive. Now Paxton, we talk about Burley, how quickly Burley works, but Paxton is pretty fast himself. We see this pose from James more times than not, waiting on the hitter to come back in the batter's box. Strike three called. He gets him. Breaking ball from Paxton, who has struck out 3 of the last 4 hitters that he's faced and 4 punch-outs overall in the first 2 innings. The lefty from Ladner, a strong second. Truth in Engineering by BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. Now today the roof started off closed, and right around the time the Blue Jays took batting practice, they started to open things up a little bit. What turned out to be a gorgeous day here in Toronto, middle game of the series. A little can opener effect to the roof, the way it opens up here. First pitch on the way to Zunino, missing outside. Kyle Seager tying this game up in the second with a home run. Zunino's first time up today. Burley marking only the 3rd left-handed starter the Mariners have seen the last 21 games, and Zunino lifts it high down the line. Donaldson giving chase, called off, and Goins couldn't get there.
Take a look at it. Would have been a tough catch for Donaldson, but see Goins trying to make the sliding grab. Looked as if his knee just kind of stuck into the turf. Didn't slide like you would expect him to. Stopped his momentum.
So the at-bat continues for Zunino, 2-1. A little inside. Gets him looking. And that's 2 pitches That were pretty borderline. 1 up, 1 down for Taylor. Well, we talked about how quickly Mark Buehrle works, and you can see this. Last year he led baseball in the fewest amount of seconds between pitches, and he's right back there again this year. Paxton not too bad himself in the top 10. Taylor the opposite way, but not deep enough. Colabello was in too shallow. He misplayed it, and it's over the fence. A ground rule double for Taylor. What looked like it would be a sure out number 2. That's back-to-back days. Some tough plays for Colabello.
Yeah, he ended up diving for a ball last night. Morrison hit a line drive into right, and he dove for it. Really wasn't too close to it. And on this one, I think he thought he had a bead on it. But it ends up getting over his head for a ground rule double.
Well, the Blue Jays, their corner outfield today, Colabello in right, Valencia in left. They, by trade, are both infielders.
Right.
Valencia mostly at second and third base. Colabello at first. Normally we see Jose Bautista in right field, but he's suffering through a sore arm, and he has been for the better part of a month.
And I think the other part about it, Aaron, we were talking about it, the roof is open today. And if you look at the flags, they're blowing around a little bit. I think at times it can swirl in here. And maybe that's what fooled him. Because he looked as if he had a bead on it. And then the last second he had to turn and run. And by then it was too late. But you can see the little breeze that's blowing around here.
Ricky Weeks ahead of the count. And now very much in the driver's seat, 3-0. Mariners last night had some clutch hits with runners in scoring position. Ricky Weeks a 4-pitch walk. So the Mariners have runners at first and second base with a 1 out. Well, if you like the music of the 1990s, you're going to love our postgame fireworks show this Friday following the Mariners-Indians game. It'll be a pyrotechnic party set to the sounds of the 1990s. Get your tickets now for fireworks night at Safeco Field. 1 out, 2 on, and it brings in Willie Bloomquist. Willie 9 extra base hits in his career against Buehrle, and starts him off with a strike. Hammered to left. Valencia looking up and off the wall. Taylor coming around from third to score. Ricky Weeks being waved home right behind him. The throw home not nearly in time. Willie Bloomquist doing some damage. He stands up at second base. And the Mariners have taken the lead by 2. High fives all around the dugout. This was hammered.
I don't think there was much doubt that Willie Bloomquist was going to be in the lineup today, Aaron. We've talked about his numbers against Buehrle. 455 coming into this game, just missing a home run. Hit about 3/4 of the way up on the wall. A good read by Ricky Weeks. He took off right away from first and was able to come around and score on the double.
1-0 to Cano. That really jumped off the bat. Now Buehrle coming off an 8-inning complete game. He allowed 4 runs and a loss at Houston. And he has had some very good starts this year. He's allowed 3 or fewer in 5 of his 8 outings entering today. But in his other 3 starts, 17 earned over 18 innings. So from time to time this year, he can cough up some runs. That explains his ERA above 5.25. Bloomquist at second after the wall ball double. And he gets Cano chasing after it. That 85-mile-an-hour fastball. Mike, in the open today, you described Burley as somebody a little bit like Jamie Moyer.
Right. Well, and because of his velocity, Jamie, towards the end of his career, Jamie's fastball was 82 to 84, and that's where Burley is going to sit. His average is right at 83 miles an hour, and he also likes to throw a lot of changeup, which Jamie would do. And then I started thinking about it. Jamie, when he was starting to have a lot of success, started to pitch inside a little bit more, and that's what we'll see from Burley today. And it's amazing that you can do that. You would think at 83 miles an hour that would be a danger zone. The key to it is you have to have great command and make sure you get it there.
Colabello, a little bit of an easier time this go around. Makes the catch on Cruz. Lundqvist stranded at second, but he drives in two as the Mariners tack on another 2 runs and they grab it by a pair now. 3-1. Mariners have the lead. Two-run double. They take the lead to the bottom of the third as we take a glance now at our Geico this date in big league history. Sweet Lou now in the Mariners Hall of Fame, picking up career win number 500 in Kansas City. You can see 840 wins at the helm of the Mariners. Mike, you were in that game.
I was?
You were. You were.
I was there.
You were a pinch hitter.
All right, there you go.
Back to the top of the order, Josh Donaldson. Dave Valley was in that game as well. Donaldson, an all-star last year with Oakland. Right there to Taylor. And a routine out number 1. That'll bring in Jose Bautista. Now, Bautista in recent years has become one of the game's most prolific sluggers, but his career certainly did not start out that way. Was with the Pirates and then was exposed to the Rule 5 draft. He was taken by Baltimore and then was designated for assignment, picked up by Tampa Bay, DFA'd by the Rays, picked up by Kansas City, then traded back to Pittsburgh. And then in 2008, Bautista was traded to Toronto, if you can believe it, for a player to be named later.
I don't know who the player was, but I think it worked out pretty well for the Blue Jays.
I believe it was Robinson Diaz. Snared there by Seager. Now the leather continues to flash for the Gold Glover here in Toronto. What a series it's been so far for Kyle.
First step quickness, a real key at third base, and he didn't even get a chance to take a step there, just a dive to his left.
They talk about first step quickness, but we know that Chris Woodward, Kyle Seager, they spend so much time knowing where to position Kyle and the rest of the infielders for each individual hitter.
No, you're right. And I think, and you're going to see it a lot, especially with the guys in the middle of the lineup with the Blue Jays, knowing that James is going to be pitching inside quite a bit. They're going to play them to pull a little bit more.
Paxton ahead on Encarnacion, quickly 0-2. You can see him working inside. Still 0-2. We saw Paxton's scoreless streak come to a close in the first inning when Encarnacion lifted the sacrifice fly. So 20 consecutive innings without allowing a run. Up and in. That was the longest streak for a Mariners pitcher since Iwakuma spun 20 scoreless in a row back in 2013. Mostly fastballs, curveballs so far, Mike?
Well, in this at bat, you can see 6 pitches. 5 of them have been fastballs. The last 3 fastballs he has thrown have been 96 miles an hour. So he's getting loose. Thrown him 1 breaking ball that he missed inside with.
Just foul.
You get that off the top of his foot.
Next pitch will be number 8 of the at-bat. We've seen some pesky at-bats. Pilar, a 9-pitch at-bat. Goins, a 7-pitch at-bat, which ended with him striking out looking. And a long battle here with Encarnacion. Once again, the 2-2. Driven towards right. Bloomquist in the sunshine right there to make the squeeze. And that'll be it for the Blue Jays. 3 up, 3 down, and Paxton has retired now the last 7 in a row. Of the game, and Mike, it was one big swing from Kyle Seager.
On a 1-1 count, he gets a fastball right on the inside corner. Extends his hitting streak to 9 games. His 6th home run of the year and gets the Mariners on the scoreboard. It's one of the areas that Kyle has really improved on. Coming into the game, Kyle hitting .286 against left-handed pitching. And I thought last year he improved in that area. And with Kyle every year, it's almost you pick a part of his game that maybe isn't real strong and you feel that he's going to work on it and get better at it, and he certainly has done that against left-handed pitching.
You're absolutely right. You look at his numbers in that category each year that they have continued to get better and better, and you can say that not only about his ability against southpaws but really in every category, offensively and defensively too. This time the opposite way. Danny Valencia out number 1. And brings in Ruggiano. Of course, Mark Buehrle, 2 no-hitters in his career, 1 a perfect game. Both when he was with the White Sox. No hit the Rangers back in 07. Then the perfecto against Tampa Bay in 09. Ruggiano foul. So that's tough for the Rays. 2 perfect games spun against them in a span of about 3 years. With Felix doing it to Tampa Bay in 2012.
After tomorrow's game, the Mariners will be heading down to Tampa.
Last year, Felix setting his personal strikeout best, 15 at the Trop last season against the Rays. Ball and 2 strikes to Ruggiano. Burley actually was invited on the David Letterman show after his perfect game. He was the subject of a top 10 list for the now retired Letterman. Strike 3 call to Ruggiano. Gets him with a fastball. It was the top 10 things going through Mark Burley's mind during his perfect game. And the number one thing that apparently, according to David, was going through Burley's mind was, maybe I can give up a hit so I don't have to go on Letterman. The first one, number 10, I actually liked the most. Number 10 was, I did it. Oh, wait, it's the 4th inning. Thought that was pretty good, too. So Burley getting some face time on Letterman a number of years ago. Strike 1 to Lomo. So the top 10 list now a thing of the past.
Blue Jays have the shift on with Morrison hitting. See Goins, the shortstop, playing right up the middle.
Slicing towards left center. Pilar having to chase after it, and he's able to track it down. And it's a loud out, but an out nevertheless. Lomo to center field, and the side retired in order for the second time by Burley. Pilar has been sensational defensively this year. That's one of the more tame catches by the Blue Jays center fielder. Is brought to you by AM/PM. Too much good stuff. Buy steel. To find your local steel dealer, visit steeldealer.com. And by Volkswagen. Hurry in and get a deal during the Volkswagen Stop Dreaming, Start Driving event. Happy to have you with us. A gorgeous day here in Toronto. Mariners and the Blue Jays. Middle game of this 3-game series. Mariners have the lead. That's a hotel room with a view right there. Don't even have to pay for a ticket. First pitch to Russell Martin, missing low. Now 2 fellow countrymen squaring off right here, Paxton and Martin. Martin born in Ontario, went to high school in Montreal. Right back to Paxton, able to smother it and lob a grenade to first base. So Martin now number 1.
James, you can see in his reaction, he thought it was hit harder than that. Fortunately, it gave him enough time to make an adjustment, make the play.
So 1 up, 1 down for Valencia, who singled his last time up. Slicing to right center. Ruggiano. Dodge. Can't get there. Bloomquist backing him up. Here's the throw. The tag. And he is safe. No, he's out.
Great effort by Ruggiano. And what a play by Willie Bloomquist in right field. We were talking about it before the game. Willie hasn't played a lot of right field. But Ruggiano, it's okay. Give him a chance to make the diving catch. You can see Willie backing the play up. And a one-hop strike. And he is out. It took him a while to make the out call. He wanted to make sure that Taylor was able to hold on to the ball as he stepped on his glove. But a good play by Willie to back Ruggiano up and then throw the strike into second base.
Boy, nice work. Colabello's turn. So 2 quick outs. Colabello a strikeout on a fastball his last time up. That was the first to end things. Bloomquist's first time playing in right field this year, and anytime he is playing, whether it's at third base, at first, at second, wherever it might be, we always see him out there early. We talked about it earlier. And you can put him just about anywhere you need.
That's one of the things that I like that he does. And during batting practice every day, he'll move around a little bit. But on the day that he is playing, whatever that position is, he will always go out early. Typically for him, it's these day games. So he'll go out early and get work in just at that one position.
This is drilled and trouble and gone. 2-out home run by Colabello, who's homered in back-to-back games now. Brings the Blue Jays within a run.
It really wasn't a bad pitch by Paxton. It looked like it was just off the inside corner. Colabello, after a number of pitches inside, he had to be cheating a little bit, looking in there. Started to swing a little bit early and was able to get the barrel to it. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Colabello was homered in back-to-back days.
Now 6 home runs that Paxton has allowed have been to right-handed hitters. He really just hasn't seen many left-handed bats so far this season. In fact, today the only lefty in the lineup is Goins, the number 9 hitting shortstop. Everything else right-handers. Seager and Taylor chasing foul territory. Who's got it? In fact, it's Weeks in left. So Ricky Weeks making the catch. Colabello the home run, and through 4, the Mariners still clinging to a 1-run lead. now in our CenturyLink What's Next. The finale tomorrow, Taijuan Walker against Aaron Sanchez, who's had some command problems, as you can see there. But last year, this ballpark, Mike, it was really Taijuan's coming out party.
He pitched great at the end of the year here in Toronto. And for Sanchez, you mentioned all the walks, 32 walks for him on the year. He has a really good arm. His fastball will be 95 to 97 miles an hour. And he has a lot of movement on his fastball. And they were saying that Russell Martin, first year with the Blue Jays, was setting up on corners. And I think tomorrow we'll see him more towards the middle of the plate and just let the natural movement of Sanchez's fastball work its way to a corner. Good swing by Zunino on a fastball that was up and in the middle of the plate.
Well, that start by Taijuan Walker here last September was against Mark Buehrle. It was the fastest played game of the season for the Mariners, an hour and 59 minutes. Backhand towards the line. Donaldson, a long strike to first base. Donaldson started third base for the American League in the All-Star game last year. Nice play.
But right down the line, takes his time. He has a strong arm. Used to be a catcher. I was a little bit surprised when they moved him from catcher to third base, Aaron, and the range that he has shown. He was well into foul territory when he let it go and threw Mike out by a step.
Pretty impressive. Donaldson coming up with the Cubs, then traded to the A's. One out, nobody on for Taylor. Not only did Buehrle spin what was the shortest game of the season last year for the Mariners, he pitched in what has been the shortest 9-inning game played in Mariners franchise history. It took 99 minutes when he was with the White Sox. And it was all she wrote, 8.5 innings, a complete game by Buehrle. Ryan Franklin pitched for the Mariners. He went the distance as well. This is stroked into left field and a base hit. Taylor on with one out. One out base runner for the Mariners for Ricky Weeks. I'll stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. And that was a day game in Chicago, and
both pitchers were dealing.
It's just cruising. 1 hour 39 minutes.
They were both throwing strikes. They were quality strikes, and both teams just swinging away, hacking away, and a lot of ground ball outs.
Dinner reservations last night. Everybody was early.
Everybody was early, correct.
By an hour at least, if not two. 1 out, 1 on. Taylor at first base for Ricky Weeks, his third time up. 0-1. Weeks walked and scored in the third inning. Came home on Bloomquist's double. Now Buehrle will give up his share of hits. He's led the league in hits 4 times in his career. This now his 16th season.
He has a good move to first base. He's picked off a lot of base runners in his career. I think his next pickoff, Pat Dabler was telling me, will be number 100 in his career.
And he right now, in terms of active pitchers, active leader in starts and innings pitched and hits allowed, has never been on the disabled list.
That is amazing.
A regular Don Sutton. Big swing from Ricky. A ball and 2 strikes. In fact, when he pitched against Taijuan Walker last year, he racked up his 200th inning on the season. So 14 straight years for Buehrle. 200 straight innings. Here's a rainbow. Shallow right. No man's land. And Tollefson makes the play. Now, last night we saw Kawasaki at second base. Today, Tollefson. You can see those ground up tires coming up the cinders here in the artificial turf.
And they have a lot of it.
It's thick.
Yeah.
You talked to Kyle a little bit about that.
Yeah, I asked him if it bothered him at all, and he said only if it gets in my eyes. And
so far, so good.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a big deal as far as the ground balls go.
Strike one to Bloomquist. Now, Willie came in with 1 RBI on the season. He's got 2 already today. Pilar charging. Calls off Colabello. And that retires his side. So Taylor stranded after the single. We go to the bottom of the 5th. James Paxton getting ready. Mariners have the lead. Cruz bat night as the Mariners meet the Indians. All kids receive a Little League size Nelson Cruz baseball bat. For tickets to Nelson Cruz bat night, visit Mariners.com. Nelly right now leading baseball, 17 home runs. Leading the American League, batting .354. Steve Tollefson beginning things. Tollefson some time in his career with the Athletics, with the Orioles as well. In fact, Tollefson played his college ball for the University of South Carolina, and after his final year, the next year was Justin Smoke's freshman year at USC. Just missed each other. Now both together here in Toronto. Just over Paxton's reach. Taylor out number 1. 1 up, 1 down for Paxton as we check in with Brad Adam at the Ford Sports Desk. All lined up. We appreciate you thinking of us, Brad. Taylor's way once again. Easy routine. Oh boy, out at first base as Goins is really shaken up.
He took a step and then went right to the ground. I'm not sure what happened. Doesn't look good though.
and he just crumpled.
Oh, that looked as if his spikes got caught up a little bit. I wonder if he twisted an ankle. But he went down quickly. Take another look at it. Look at his back ankle. Yeah, ended up rolling an ankle.
Now it's good to see that's nothing too serious.
I was able to walk off.
They are expecting Jose Reyes back on Monday. Reyes rehabbing from a rib injury. He's with AAA Buffalo right now. But Goins has been taking Reyes' spot at shortstop. And really, in a lot of ways, Goins is the better defensive shortstop. They've really been impressed and pleased with what he's done defensively for the Blue Jays. It's good to see him being able to walk off on his own power. So 2 quick outs for Paxton. Just barely over 70 pitches. Now facing Josh Donaldson. Donaldson leading off today for only the 6th time in his career. The other 5 times all happening this season. And Mike, both of us, when we wrote out the lineup, strange to write Josh Donaldson in the top spot.
Well, with the year that he's having, hitting .304, 9 home runs, you expect him in the middle of the lineup.
All 3 right to the way of Taylor. 6-3 3 times as we wrap up 5 innings. Paxton, a quick and tidy 5th. Mariners have the lead 3-2. By Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. Now it's on to the top of the 6th. Now, Mike, this is right up your alley. Could we ever see you doing something like that, Mike?
There is not a chance.
Figured that was going to be your response. Not even on a night off? Come on, Mike. Mike, we could both do that. We'd have a blast. I think it'd be a great bonding experience. We don't spend enough time together as it is.
I'll say it again. Not a chance.
Cano behind 0-2. Mariners take the lead to the 6th inning.
I know that the people, they have to pay to do that. I wonder what they charge them.
They are stealing money. Oh-2 high fly to left field. Valencia in a few steps to make the catch. Now, word on the street, Mike. In U.S. currency, $175. That'll buy you a nice steak in Toronto someplace.
Well, why don't we do that instead?
You got a deal. Fair enough. That brings in Nelson Cruz. Now, Nelly has been leading the American League in the Triple Crown categories, average, home run, RBIs, as of late. But right now, he is trailing Kendrys Morales, who has caught fire for the Royals. Former Mariner, leading in RBIs right now. But Cruz has him in average and in home runs. He's got everybody in homers. OPS well over 1,000, as you just saw. Three balls and a strike. Cruz with a modest 4-game hitting streak. Is there anything you can do as a hitter to slow down the pace of Mark Buehrle?
All you can do is step out of the batter's box. Call timeout. But I've seen Mark for years. It doesn't bother him in the least.
Trying to dunk it into right field, and he does. Cruz, an opposite way single, 5-game hitting streak now. And the Mariners have a base runner with 1 out for Kyle Seager. Join us on Tuesday, June 2nd. The Mariners host the Yankees on Kyle Seager bobblehead night, courtesy of Root Sports. The collectible bobblehead commemorates Kyle's Gold Glove Award. It's free to the first 20,000 fans. For tickets, just visit Mariners.com. 1 out, 1 on for Seager, who homered back in the second, his first at bat. So Seager, a 9-game hitting streak. Now, we told you his numbers earlier here in Toronto. Maybe the only ballpark he likes to hit in more is in Arlington. Seager hitting close to 350 here at Rogers Center. With the shift on, race to the bag at second, on to first, and top of the double play. That'll do it for the Mariners. Looks like that ankle's okay from Goins. On to the bottom of the 6th, Mariners still have the lead. Lead at 3-2. We go to the bottom of the 6th. One hop your way home. Take Link Light Rail to the airport for just $3. Schedules available at soundtransit.org. I'm so glad you could join us today from Rogers Center. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, our entire Root Sports crew. Middle game of the series. If the Mariners can hold on, they would secure a series win after winning last night. First pitch strike to Bautista. Blue Jays scoring against Paxton with the sac fly back in the first. That was by Encarnacion. Then Colabello with 2 outs. A solo home run to left in the fourth. This time spikes the curve.
One of the few breaking balls that he has thrown. We talked about his previous 2 outings. Over 80% fastballs, and he is right there again, throwing a lot of fastballs inside.
Paxton making start number 9 of the season today. Little inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. For Paxton today, just his 26th career big league start. Now the count pushes full. Encarnacion on deck. And a leadoff walk. Second walk today from Paxton, the first since he walked Bautista in the first inning. Bautista, a guy who takes a lot of walks. Well, Encarnacion last night got things going for the Blue Jays against the King. This was really one of the only blemishes on Felix's line. We've talked about the skill set of Mike Zunino behind the plate, and if you're looking for a total body workout in back-to-back days, try catching Felix's changeup and then Paxton's curve, and then of course you throw in 96 and 97 from Paxton as well.
I wasn't surprised to see Mike back there this afternoon, though. I think with Castillo, unfortunately, it's caught just about everybody in the bullpen now. But
that rain delay really forced that issue in Baltimore to end the series. Now second straight 3-ball count. Paxton has not had many of them today. Trying to work around the leadoff walk. And it's back-to-back walks.
I think right now he's in the 6th inning. He's trying to protect a 1-run lead. And Rick Waite's coming out of the dugout quickly. And if you look at this line of Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, and now Martin, those 4 guys at the top of the lineup are the ones that can really hurt you. And he looked as if he was going to make sure. He ended up getting his fastball inside. We also saw him throw a few more breaking balls to Bautista. Walked him on a 3-2 breaking ball. And maybe he's just being a little bit careful right now. Rick Waite's having a conversation. Looks like Charlie Verbush. No, Tom Wilhelmsen's going to start throwing in the bullpen. Just took his jacket off. There's Tom.
Well, as they talk things over, we'll take a glance at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Sleep Country USA. Mariners dropping 2 out of 3 in Baltimore, now midway through the series here in Toronto. But on to see Kevin Cash, the new manager for the Rays, taking over for Joe Maddon now on the north side of Chicago. And then back home, it'll be a nice homestand. Fireworks night against the Indians, the Yankees, and the Rays coming to town. So here's Russell Martin. Paxton starts him off with a fastball strike. Now Bautista at second, the tying run, and Encarnacion at first to go ahead. So Paxton having to walk a little bit of a tightrope here in the 6th inning. And 0-2.
And again, right back inside with a couple of good fastballs. Able to get the call on the first pitch. Looked as if it was off the plate. The last pitch, 96 miles an hour, right on the corner.
Russell Martin struck out looking on a heater back in the first inning. Paxton ahead. Off the hands, soft pop up. Paxton wants it, but gives way to Zunino. That's exactly what James needed. 1 out.
His best fastball, 97 miles an hour, right on the hands of Martin.
And now everybody to talk things over.
Batista, the veteran, out at second base. They're probably going to change up the signs. With a runner at second, Mike Zunino will go through a series of signs, and they're probably changing things up with Batista out there. They don't want to take the chance of him giving the hitter an idea of what's going to be thrown or where. Sometimes it's just location, so they want to be aware of that.
Danny Valencia 2 for 2. Big rip and a miss on the first. Now the outfield playing Valencia straight away. Tying run in scoring position. That's Bautista. The opposite way, and it's snared there by Cano, and a flip over to Taylor. Cano plays the video game like nobody else. How does he do that? We'll see that a few more times. Through 6 innings, the Mariners hold the lead. You can meet the best mascot in baseball when you stop by the Seattle Children's Moose Den at Safeco Field. Simply head to the den located on the main concourse in center field the next time you're at the ballpark for a photo with the one and only Mariner Moose. There's Ruggiano leading things off. Does not go around. Ball 1. Made it look pretty easy, didn't he, Mike?
Cano?
Yeah.
It was interesting because we were listening to him on the pregame show, and he talked about one of the important things about playing the infield is being loose and having fun, and I think both of those applied right there.
3 balls and a strike to Ruggiano. 0 for 2 today. And a leadoff walk. Last time Burley walked a man, that was Ricky Weeks. He came in to score on the double by Bloomquist.
I'll bring up Morrison. Morrison was blown out to the center fielder twice. Last time he didn't seem real happy about it. Pilar ran a long way out in the left center field to take a double away from Logan.
Comes in and really stings him. Lomo hit by the pitch, and the Mariners quickly have 2 base runners, one with a bruise. Activity in the bullpen. Hendricks warming up. Two on, nobody out for Zunino. Mariners trying to extend the lead a little bit here. The bunt. Encarnacion, and out at first base. Tollefson just able to keep his foot on the bag long enough. But Zunino drops it down, and both men up a spot. Lomo to second, Ruggiano to third.
Well, we'll take a look at it. A little flip to first base, and Tollefson. It's hard to tell. I'm not sure his foot was on the base. No, Lloyd's not coming out of the dugout, so sacrifice bunt for Zunino.
I'll leave it at that. RBI chance here for Taylor.
Having a good afternoon. 2 for 2. Double and a run scored. Blue Jays will bring their infield in.
You saw Taylor pick up his first RBI on this road trip. It was the RBI triple in Baltimore. Ruggiano the lead runner, Lomo behind him. 2-0. This is Taylor's first multi-hit game of the year. Keep in mind this is just game number 14. Just scoots foul. It was tough to see Taylor go on the disabled list, hit by that pitch in spring training on the wrist. He's having such a fantastic spring. Burley's 2-1. Broken bat. Little lifter into shallow center. Pilar on the sprint. The catch. And Ruggiano has to stay put. Now, before this year began, few people around the country probably knew about Kevin Pilar, but
they do now.
They do now.
It was a highlight film in the month of April by himself. There's a Taylor, his changeup hit it off the end of the bat. Wasn't able to get it deep enough to try to tag up. In fact, Ruggiano went about halfway down the line just in case it dropped in.
Now the Mariners trying to cash in on 2 free base runners, the walk, and then Logan hit on the first pitch. Second and third base, here's Ricky Weeks.
Mariners this afternoon 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Now 1 base hit. And the man who's standing on deck right now, Willie Bloomquist, a double off the left field wall, driving in a couple of runs.
And that double for a while looked like it would be a homer. Two and nothing.
Tom Wilhelmsen's still up in the bullpen for the Mariners. I wonder if Paxton's day is done. He's thrown 90 pitches.
To Goins. Out number 3. The Mariners strand runners at second and third base. It's time to stretch here in Toronto. Mariners on top by a run. you consider how a Washington's lottery win would change your bucket list. Play today. Mariners take the lead to the bottom of the 7th. James Paxton, his 5th straight quality start as we take a look at the T-Mobile game changer today, Mike, and it is the lefty from Ladner.
I thought he really threw the ball well today. Was able to stay with his fastball again. He had a good one. Topped out at 97 miles an hour. Consistently pitched inside. Here's one of the few curveballs that he was able to get a strikeout on. But overall, commanded the strike zone. And very aggressive with his fastball pitching in.
It was good to see Paxton settle down. After that first inning, he allowed a run on 2 hits. We saw a mound visit from Lloyd as Tom Wilhelmsen now takes over for the Mariners. And I saw Tom in Baltimore in the rain delay. Logged 2 innings for the Mariners that day. Facing Chris Colabello to start the 7th.
For Tom, 1-0 record on the year, 2.16 ERA, 11 strikeouts over 8 1/3. It's great to have Tom back, but only 8 1/3 so far for him. Opponent's hitting .242.
The Blue Jays hitters facing a righty for the first time today as the Beard is in left. Dustin Ackley taking over for Ricky Weeks. So it's Ackley in left, Ruggiano in center, Bloomquist in right field still.
I think the other thing to consider about Paxton's outing today is the Blue Jays, one of the better hitting clubs against left-handers, hitting .316. So when you consider just giving up 2 runs over 6 innings, pretty good. One of them on the solo homer.
That's a great point. That's the top average of any team in the big leagues. So Paxton, there was some potential for running into a bit of a buzzsaw when you consider the fact that the Blue Jays have scored more runs than anyone and they have hit lefties better than anyone. And things looked a little dicey in the first. Donaldson's double, then the walk to Bautista, then the visit from Lloyd. A sac fly gave the Blue Jays the early lead. Then a single followed after a strikeout to Russell Martin. And a strike. Colabello thought that was ball 4.
Well, he was fortunate on the pitch before that. It should have been called a strike, and it wasn't.
And talking about Paxton, and especially when you think about what happened to James last September when he was here, when he walked 6, gave up 9 runs, and could not escape the 3rd, pitching in Canada for the first time. Appeal to the check swing. He does not go around, so Colabello will lead off walk. Now we go back to the Ford Sports Desk. We bring in Dave Valley. And Val, what did you make out of James Paxton today?
Hey, Val, what do you think about Paxton in his last 3 outings now being around 80%, maybe even higher than that at times with his fastball?
Hey, Val, take us behind the mask here for Zunino. Last night, the changeup, we were talking about catching Felix, and then today catching that really vicious curveball of Paxton. That's not easy. Good stuff, Dave Valley. Thank you. Back at the Ford Sports Desk. As Pilar continues to try to bunt, but Wilhelmsen continues looking at Colabello at first.
And Kyle Seager playing way in at third, hoping that Pilar tries to bunt the ball to him. We saw Pilar bunt last night. He was trying to bunt for a hit, and he pushed it towards first base. He squared around all 3 times. Tom falling behind 2-0. The last pitch was a strike, and you have to be careful here because 2-1 is a pretty good count to hit and run on.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
I'm able to get back into the count.
That explains the constant looking at Colabello, who has attempted just 1 steal this year. The hit and run.
Yeah. No, he's not going to try to steal it.
Tom's 2-2. And the count stays put. That leadoff walk to Colabello puts the tying run at first. Paxton walked the first 2 of the 6th inning, but then got a pop up and an incredible double play started by Cano. Paxton, another quality start, his 5th straight, giving way to the bullpen now. And at this point, you look at the fire that the Mariners have at the bullpen in terms of right-handed relievers. And this lineup, with the exception of Goins, everybody bats right-handed. Full count.
And a really good play by Mike. That was a breaking ball, curveball thrown in the other batter's box. He was still able to keep it in front of him. We'll take a look at it. Tom just spikes a curveball.
This will be pitch number 9 of the at-bat. And he gets him swinging. Wilhelmsen finishes him off. Round number 1.
Another breaking ball, 3-2. We're going to have a pinch hitter. It's like Justin Smoke has come out. He's going to pinch hit for Tollefson.
That's the second 9-pitch at bat from Pilar this afternoon, and both have ended in strikeouts. So the pride of Goose Creek, South Carolina, Justin Smoke, a long way from home here north of the border. Wearing number 14 with the Blue Jays. And really, with the way that the roster has been constructed right now, and because of some minor health issues, this has really been Smoke's role for the better part of the last month.
Only 53 at bats for him. 53 at bats, hitting .226. Has a couple of home runs, 7 RBIs.
Behind 0-2. Because Bautista is struggling with a sore arm, he is not being able to play in right field. That means that the DH spot has been consumed by Bautista, and that means that Smoke has got him squeezed down to first base to get Encarnacion's bat in the lineup. He would normally DH. 1-2. Smoke, the former first-round draft pick by the Rangers, coming to Seattle in the Cliff Lee deal, and picked up by Toronto after last year in October. Does not go around. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And a pretty good breaking ball from Tom. First 3 pitches, all fastballs. A curveball, just missing the bottom of the strike zone.
Smoke represents the go-ahead run. Wilhelmsen's 2-2. He gets him swinging in on the hand. Some heat. Back-to-back strikeouts.
Well, it's good fastball, 94 miles an hour, just off the plate inside. He gets Justin to chase it.
Now, Smoke probably enjoyed playing first base with Wilhelmsen pitching more than he enjoys being in the batter's box with the big right-hander coming right at him.
Pretty good cutter.
That's not easy.
No.
Ball 1 to Goins. Colabello, the leadoff walk, still lingering at first, the tying run. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hard hit towards the line, and it hooks foul. And Goins really barreled up that pitch, but it's 1-2 now. Wilhelmsen trying to send this one to the 8th. It has turned out to be a gorgeous afternoon here in Toronto. And Zunino wants to go out and have a quick chat with Tom. Lower bowl pretty much filled up today. One ball, 2 strikes to the Blue Jays' number 9 hitter. Colabello at first base. The opposite way, slicing. Here comes Ackley, the slide, and he makes the catch. And that squashes the threat of the Blue Jays here, the 7th. So a defensive replacement coming on to pay dividends for Lloyd. Ackley taking over for weeks. Out number 3. Out of the 8th inning, Mariners still clinging to a 1-run lead. Mariners have the lead by 1 run as we take a look at our Lexus pitching comparison, and another quality start for James Paxton, and Mark Buehrle beneath 90 pitches right now.
I thought James was really good today, again topping out at 97 miles an hour, threw a lot of fastballs, but just the 2 earned runs. Was able to pitch around the 3 walks.
Another good start for Paxton. 0-1 to Bloomquist beginning the 8th. He'll be followed by Cano and then Cruz. Looper to right field. Colabello able to make the play at 1 out. Now say hello to the energy boy, Munenori Kawasaki. in at second base after Sean Tollison was pinch hit for with Justin Smoke. And you just don't hear an ovation for many players in the game like you hear for Mooney here in Toronto.
He is a fan favorite, no question.
One out for Cano. Really, if you go back, you look at the wins and losses last year, the Blue Jays won more games with Kawasaki than without him. And John Gibbons was the first to point that out. 2-0. Cano looking for his first hit today. He's had success against Burley over the course of his career. But 0 for 3 today. Used to have been in the big leagues a long time.
Good inning for Tom Wilhelmsen. Walking the leadoff hitter, but a couple of strikeouts for Tom. Carson Smith getting loose in the Mariner pen. He will pitch the 8th.
There you can see Carson early approaching 100 pitches meanwhile. Ball 4 to Cano. A 1-out walk, so Robinson reaches base to bring in Nelson Cruz.
And we're going to get a pitching change. Roberto Osuna has been throwing in the pen for the Blue Jays.
Here comes a Texas stroll of San Antonio native John Gibbons. That'll be it for Burley with 1 out and 1 on. We'll step aside to the top of the 8th. New pitcher coming on for the Blue Jays. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. A gorgeous day to be out on the waterfront here in Toronto. Mariners have the lead. They'll also be facing now a new pitcher as Mark Burley goes 7 1/3, and he gives way now to Roberto Osuna.
For Osuna, really pitched well. You can see his ERA under 1, 21 2/3, 22 strikeouts. Opponents hitting just 155 against him. He's yet to give up a home run.
Osuna is a youngster, only 20 years old. Originally from Mexico. First pitch inside to Cruz. Big rip there by Nelson. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Good fastball at the top of the strike zone. 95 miles an hour.
Cruz 1 for 3 today, so the hitting streak extends now to 5 games. Nelson batting over .400 on the road this season. Of course, last year did a lot of damage on the road as well, even playing in hitter-friendly Camden Yards in Baltimore. 1 out, 1 on. Mariners trying to give themselves a little bit of breathing room here in the 8th inning. And Osuna's got a live arm. That time 96, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blue Jays have a lot of young pitching, certainly some veterans. R.A. Dickey, Mark Burley as well, but a lot of youth on the pitching staff. Gets him swinging. 96 again, 2 outs.
Couple of 96-mile-an-hour fastballs, elevated a little bit, right about belt time, maybe just above the belt. Young man has a good arm.
You talk about the young pitching. That's a big reason why they wanted to sign a veteran in Russell Martin behind home to help guide some of the young arms. Strike 1 to Seager. Kyle homered back in the 2nd, so a 9-game hitting streak now for the Mariners' third baseman. He's had a phenomenal series so far defensively as well. Carson Smith ready to go once we get to the bottom of this 8th inning. Two outs, 1 on. Seager, a towering fly ball. Colabello, medium depth. Out number 3. Cano stranded after the walk. We go to the Blue Jays half of the 8th inning. We'll see Carson Smith in just a moment.
Take a look at this play by Cano, stabbing the line drive, and then a little backhanded flip to Chris Taylor. And how about Dustin Ackley, just put into the game for defense as he makes this sliding catch out in left field. For Carson Smith on the year, 0.95 ERA in 19 innings. He has 22 strikeouts, only 5 walks. Bullets hitting 138 against Carson. Good fastball in the mid-90s. Hard slider. And he's going to get the tough part of the lineup. Right back to the top of the lineup. Donaldson, Batista, and Encarnacion all due up here in the bottom of the 8th.
And no easy task Donaldson today a double and a run scored. That was back in the first. Hitless since. Starts him off with a strike. And you can see what that slider does to Donaldson. I think it's coming in, then lands for strike one. Carson working back-to-back days now. 0-2 quickly. The 0-2 just off the plate. Got him chasing after it, and that is the nasty, nasty stuff there from Carson Smith. That is vicious. Donaldson whipping on the slider.
He is so tough on right-handers. I think most of the time they're just going to have to guess against Carson.
Strike one to Bautista. But on the season, Carson Smith now 23 strikeouts as Brett Cecil, the closer, warms up for the Blue Jays. And 20 of those punch-outs to righties. One and one. Bautista a couple of walks in this one. Without a hit, was robbed by Kyle Seager back in the third. And Smith back ahead of the count. Now this is the scary part of the lineup, and every man represents the tie and run for the Blue Jays. So high leverage spot here for young Carson Smith. And it doesn't get easier. Encarnacion on deck. And range to Bloomquist to meet it right there. 2 outs. Two up, two down. The strikeout, a flyout. Now facing Encarnacion. Encarnacion has driven in a run in both games of this series so far. The sac fly in the first, and then last night in the first inning, the home run off of Felix.
Mike Zunino, a quick trip out to the mound. Go over the scouting report, what they want to do.
And this should be a good battle. One and one. Encarnacion ahead. A lot of ground balls for Carson Smith. Tough guy to square up. And he really falls behind 3-1.
Missed badly with the slider. Mike Zunino wanted him to go down and away with that pitch, and he left it up and in.
Also Martin waiting. Hammered on a low skip right there by Seager. Kyle makes it look pretty easy. 3 up, 3 down as Carson Smith mows right through the heart of the Blue Jays order. The tough ones, Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, all back on the bench. Mariners by a run as we open things up in the top of the 9th inning. Nominate your favorite plays of the week by tweeting us using the hashtag RootFanFave. Watch the Mariners pregame show tomorrow to find out the top 5 fan favorite plays of the week. Plus, each month, one lucky fan will win a Coors Light Refrigerator just for participating. For official rules, visit rootsports.com. New pitcher up on the mound is Brett Cecil, the closer, for the Blue Jays facing Ruggiano. Cecil began the year as a closer, then lost his job, and then really by poor performance by the man who took his job, who's now in AAA, got it back. Straightaway center. Pilar out number 1. Fernando Rodney beginning to stir. Picked up his 11th save of the season last night. With some dramatic moments. Mariners would love to give Rodney another run. Logan today hit by the pitch in the 7th. A couple of fly ball outs to Pilar in center. Trying to hold back a little bit. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, Logan guessing a little bit. Thought he was going to get a fastball after Cecil missed with the first pitch. Ended up throwing a breaking ball.
Slicing towards left. Valencia out of room. Strike 2. Mentioning that Cecil is the closer for the Blue Jays, they have only 6 saves on the season. Really just not many save opportunities. They have not played well when they don't score many runs. They're 1-18 this year, the Blue Jays, when scoring 3 runs or fewer. That includes last night. Got him waving after it. Martin picks it up to complete the strikeout. 2 outs. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and a whole lot more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 2 up, 2 down by Cecil, now facing Mike Zunino. Mariners tied this game up with Seager's home run, the solo shot in the 2nd, and then took the lead thanks to Willie Bloomquist, a 2-run double off the wall in left field. So the Mariners have been held off the scoreboard over the last 5 innings. Mark Brody began to clamp down a little bit.
Well, let's see if Mike Zunino can change that. Good count, 2-0, should get a fastball.
And he does.
Elevated fastball at the top of the strike zone.
Hammered on a line. Valencia won't be able to get there, off the wall. And Zunino, a wide turn, and now scampers back at the bag at first base.
Strong throw by Valencia. Accurate throw. 1 hopper right into second base. Holding Mike to a single. Take a look at the swing by Mike. Out in front, off speed pitch. So he hits it down into the corner. A little breaking ball.
Yeah, you're right about that throw. We mentioned it earlier. Valencia, an infielder playing in left. Didn't look like it there.
Chris Taylor having a good afternoon. 2 for 3.
Run scored came in on the double by Bloomquist. When we go to the bottom of the ninth, Rodney will face Martin, Valencia, and Colabello. Of course, Colabello homered off of Rodney last night in the ninth inning. Martin, their cleanup hitter. 1 ball and 1 strike to Taylor. If the Mariners can hold on today, it would lock down a series win, set up a chance for a sweep tomorrow. As Taylor jumps ahead now 3-1. Dustin Ackley on deck. Taylor thought he took ball 4.
You can see the location of the pitch on the EQC tracer. Down at the knees on the outside corner. 3-1. Probably not a pitch you want to swing at anyway.
Zunino at first. Pilar in center field. Tracks it down. That'll do it for the Mariners in the top of the ninth. Fernando Rodney trying to lock down saves in back-to-back nights here in Toronto. He comes out of the bullpen next. All right, Brad, you got that right. Fernando Rodney trying to knock down, or lock down rather, saves in consecutive nights. And got a little dicey last night for Fernando, but as it typically works out for Fernando, he got the save anyway.
Well, you were talking about Colabello with the home run off of him. It was on a changeup, and they wanted to go down and away with it. He left it inside, so Colabello was going to hit in this inning. We'll see how Rodney attacks him. Try to get this save, his 12th save of the season.
He's 3 outs away. Facing the middle 3 in the order, it starts with Russell Martin. 3 right-handed hitters for Rodney to face. The Blue Jays, a sacrifice fly in the first. Colabello, a home run in the fourth. Starts him off with a strike. Seth Smith now in right field. Ackley took over for Weeks a couple of innings ago and left. Ruggiano is still in center. Rodney last night a couple of runs. Strike 2.
Good fastball, 95 miles an hour. Martin didn't like the call. He thought it was in, but like it caught a piece of the corner.
Rodney's 1-2. Made Martin think about it. Breaks out the changeup that time. Danny Valencia on deck. Right back to Rodney. 1 out. Two outs away from a win.
Pretty good play by Rodney. Hit right back at him. Cano maybe was in pretty good position to make the play on that. A good defense from Rodney.
1 up, 1 down. Now facing Valencia, who has a couple of hits in this one, both singles. Once again, strike 1. Seems like for Rodney, more times than not, retiring that first hitter is such a big part of the success.
Well, it is for anybody, but especially late in a ball game when you're trying to hang on to a 1-run lead. It just gives you an opportunity to continue to work down the line with a runner at first. You have to pay attention to him, wonder if they're going to bunt. A lot of things start happening.
Ball's behind, 2-1 to Valencia. Time called. A piece of trash from the fans comes inside the batter's box. Mike Zunino playing garbage man. Picks it up and hands it to the home plate umpire. Strike 2.
And Rodney once again has a good fastball this afternoon. He's topped out at 96.
Last time the Mariners won a series, it was the 3-game sweep to begin the last homestand against the Oakland A's, then a split and a brief 2-game set against the Padres, then a split of 4 games with the Red Sox. A win today would mark a series win, a chance for a sweep tomorrow. The 2-2. Got him swinging. Broke out the changeup. 2 up, 2 down, 1 out away.
What a great changeup from Rodney. So difficult on his changeup when he's throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. His changeup a little bit firmer than we're used to seeing. His changeup's been 83, 84. Typically it's closer to 80, 81 in that range.
So now a rematch of the 9th inning last night. Colabello won it a night ago, a 2-run homer. Rodney trying to even the score.
Just missed the outside corner with 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Ball and 1 strike. Colabello a home run earlier today. That was in the 4th off of James Paxton. Colabello faced Wilhelmsen out of the bullpen. Tom walked Colabello. Strike on the corner. Talk about throwing darts right there from Rodney. Rodney on the hunt for that 27th out. 1 strike away. Rodney's pitch. Got him swinging, and that'll do it. Rodney picks up the save, number 12. The Mariners have won the first 2 games, and they have secured a series win here in Toronto.
And what a way for Rodney to finish things. 98 miles an hour right on the outside corner to end the ball game. Pick up his 12th save. How about Paxton? Paxton was really good today, I thought. Again, when you look at the Blue Jays lineup, hitting .316 against left-handers, only giving up 2 runs over the course of 6 innings. And Willie Bloomquist, we haven't seen him in right field, gets the start in right field. His numbers were really good against Burley, and he ends up coming with a big hit, the double, to drive in 2 runs.
And for those who set the over-under for Paxton versus Burley, 2 hours and 25 minutes. Pretty close, Mike. Well, that'll be it. The Mariners win it. Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines starts right now.